We're talking about 3 ways to save time on your Pinterest workflow this week, Jana. And we have talked about this many, many times. Different variations of this. We've chatted about this in previous lives. Um,
Clubhouse. We used
Clubhouse.
to talk about this all the time on Clubhouse. This is like one of our
Yeah.
favorite topics on Clubhouse.
Yeah,
Everybody
because
loves everybody loves to save time.
everyone loves to save time. Most people love a good workflow. Whether you know it or not, you need one,
For sure.
especially if you want to stay consistent and have sustainable long-term growth on any platform.
Hmm.
So let's chit chat about it. As you guys are coming in, if you have questions about workflows or what we're going to chat about, do drop them in the comments. As always, we will try to get to them. But first and foremost, I'm just going to chat about one of my favorite hot tips, Jana, that I've been talking and teaching about in my membership lately. And it's simply taking those older pin designs that you already have in your Canva account because we know you have hundreds. We know you have them. Going back to those, pulling them out, and slightly changing things, whether it's an old branded pin in old colors that you need to update and make new colors, or whether you need to just change the image or just the text overlay slightly, that's going to make it a new image. And instead of spending 10 minutes making a Pinterest pin, you're spending maybe two,
Yep. I love that.
maybe four total because it's going to take you a couple of minutes to find them. Chances are you're not organized like I am with my Canva hack where I just organize everything into folders.
Hmm.
So it might take you a couple of minutes to find them, a couple of minutes to edit them, and you're off.
Yeah. I love that. Before I forget to ask you, how can people learn about how you organize your Canva for
Mhm.
Pinterest and really for anything, but specifically for Pinterest? Because that's kind of like the higher level version of all of this. This is like a little tip you're sharing, but the big picture
Yeah,
is like being organized in Canva.
I think I actually have a video on this very channel that is a couple years old, but the concept is
Okay.
still very much accurate. So
Yeah.
I'll dig it out and we'll put it in the description after the show.
Okay, perfect. So to be clear, what you're saying is you take an old Pinterest template or one that you used last month or 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever,
Mhm.
and it already has a text overlay, right? It already has an image. So you can just swap out one of those factors. So
Mhm.
swap out the image or swap out the text overlay. If you want to go, bonus points, do both, that's fine. But the idea is to speed up your process. Don't just like choose a new template and update it and whatnot. Just take your template that's already got your brand colors, already got everything, and just switch out one of those factors and go ahead and download it and use it. So, and what one thing I do that kind of piggybacks on this a little bit too is like I actually will I have a few different ones. I have like three different files in Canva and each one has like 10 templates.
Yep.
And I literally go in and I'll just like, I'll pick the one I'm going to use this month. If I know I used, template A last month, I'll use template B this month.
Mhm.
So template B, I open it up, it has 10 different designs, and I go ahead and do what you just said. I just like swap out the images and or the text overlay. Like some of them I'll swap out just the image and leave the text overlay, pin it. Some of them I'll swap out the text overlay and the image and pin it. Sometimes I'll just take the image and like maybe like use a different part of the image or like stretch it or shrink it. Usually stretch it because that'll give you like a different kind of look to the back of the image.
Yep.
Change out a little bit about the text overlay. Go ahead and use it, right? We don't need to be reinventing the wheel every time we create a pin.
No, and you've done all this work in the past. So really utilizing that work that you've already done, especially if you're in a season of business, which we all come across these seasons of business where we're really busy. Jana just came out of
Hmm.
a very busy launch. She welcomed a lot of new students. And in that time frame, I bet you she's not out here creating branding Pinterest pins. She was writing emails.
For sure. All my Pinterest pins were
So
all scheduled. They'd been
yeah.
scheduled for months.
So
Yeah.
just really taking an opportunity to refocus in on what you've already done really well if you are in that busy season, or you're maybe in a season where you're not being creative and it's just harder for you to be creative. That's also a really great opportunity to repurpose and reuse what you've already created. So take it, run with it, let me know how it works for you.
Hmm. All right. I'm going to throw in like a little bonus thing, even though it's not one of our three because it's just coming to mind and I want to mention it. One thing I notice about myself these days is I've been like when I go into my blog posts for something, like say somebody sends me a message on Instagram and they say, how do I do keyword research on Pinterest? And I want to send them a blog post that I have about having a keyword research plan and how to do it. I'll go into that blog post and grab the link, but I'm trying to remind myself these days too, while I'm in that blog post,
Mm-hmm.
to go ahead and repin that pin again.
Yep.
So remember, you can also pin manually from your own blog. That's
Yep.
not the way that I do most of my pinning. Most of my pinning is like create it on Canva, download it, upload it, optimize it, add the link, schedule it. But you can pin manually from your own blog. And so these days I'm trying to remember to do that whenever I go in for like a different reason. If I kind of remember, yeah, it's been a while since I pinned this pin, it doesn't have to be perfect. If I find
Yep.
out later that actually, oops, I had that pin scheduled for last week and I pinned it again this week, fine, not a big
Whatever.
deal, right? But that's another way to kind of like, shake things up and have more pins going out on a regular basis is just to kind of like, it's almost like habit stacking, right? It's like
Yeah.
doing your like heel raises while you're brushing your teeth because you want to remember to do your heel raises and you won't forget to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. So that's another little one. Okay, but that wasn't mine. That doesn't count as mine.
That doesn't count as Jana's.
That was a little bonus tip for y'all. Um, okay, the one I wanted to bring to the table that I think is really important is I already alluded to it, but is having that keyword plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want anyone who learns from me, learns Pinterest from me, anyone who takes my course, anyone who does like an intensive with me to get ready to, get their Pinterest set up and a workflow in place. I want them to have a keyword plan that is like a Google Doc that's at least 2 pages long, sometimes longer. And it just depends on how big your font is and, line spacing and things like that. But with a list of your most important keyword phrases. So what we also call like long tail keywords. So keyword phrases or long tail keywords that are the ones you want to be using on a regular basis that are obviously aligned with your offers, aligned with your content. The way you do that is you basically batch up front and do a whole bunch of keyword research in a sitting. So maybe you spend 2 to 3 hours going through, and it's not hard. You just need a process to follow. I teach my process, you teach your process. They're very similar inside of our offers. But basically, you just do your keyword research. And while you're doing it, you're documenting what you're finding in a very simple keyword plan. The way I like to set it up, and I'm sure you have a system just like this, is you're setting it up in a way so that it's really usable. So it's easy to go in and find your keywords when you need them. And then that way, when you go to optimize a pin, let's say you just uploaded, the 5 pins that you downloaded from that design, and now you're optimizing them. You don't have to like go and be like, okay, now I have to do keyword research for every one of these pins while I'm doing this. That's
Yeah.
heavy. No one wants to do that. So don't do that. Instead, just dip into your keyword bank or what I call your master keyword list and plan. Grab the ones you want to use them, and keep moving. So just my overall tip is do your keyword research up front, invest 2 to 3 hours in doing it, and then you'll have your keyword plan, and it's going to save you so much time and energy down the road. Link to that document from whatever you're using to organize your process, whether it's Heather's Pinterest system, if you have an Asana task, whatever it is. So you can easily get to it, grab what you need in terms of keyword phrases, use them in the, 7-ish different places where you can add your keywords while you're pinning, and, keep moving. Don't get slowed down by having to like actually do keyword research while you're creating pins. It's crazy. It's
No,
crazy.
that's the part that I think a lot of people end up quitting, doing Pinterest, or they fall off the wagon and then they end up quitting doing Pinterest marketing because they're
Mhm.
trying to do too much in the moment. Whereas if you can do some of this batch work up front, like organizing your Canva account, like finding your keywords and having them in a plan. One of the things I teach in my Pinterest system, sorry, I've got mosquitoes on the ceiling. I got to get rid of those.
Mm.
Part of what I teach in the Pinterest system is really organizing your content hub
Mhm.
and like
Yep.
creating a place where all of your blog posts or all your YouTube videos live or all your podcast episodes,
Yep.
and consistently using that so you're not going all around the internet trying to
Right.
find an image for this and a template for that and a keyword for this and writing your pin title and oh, now I have to write my Pinterest copy. Like,
Right.
no, let's
It's not sustainable. You're not going to keep doing it. And we want you to keep doing it. So we want to have
really do.
systems. Tell me about your Pinterest system that you are referring to. What's that?
Yeah, so the Pinterest system is it was born out of a spreadsheet. I'm going to be updating it soon. It's going to get a new update for 2024 and I'm going to simplify it. Um, but it's really built on this foundation of having your keyword plan in one place. If you need to do any optimization on your profile, like do a Pinterest audit or anything like that, and that's kind of the change I'm going to make because my spreadsheets right now are all in one thing, and not everyone needs all of the sheets, and they're a little overwhelmed when they get in there. So, not everyone uses Google Sheets like I do. I'm a power user for Google Sheets. So I know if I get someone's template, I can simply just hide what I don't need. But a
Right.
lot of people don't know that
Don't
that feature
realize that.
exists.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna break it up and there's gonna be a section for like auditing your Pinterest account and here are the sheets for that. And then here are the standard sheets. So it's a content tracking system, tracking your analytics for Pinterest. I also encourage people to track their other metrics in the same place. Um, your keyword plan, there's a sample workflow in there that you can
Nice.
follow. There's a number of sheets. There's obviously a monthly pin planning template in there too. So you can pull things out of the pin plan or the content hub and put it in the pin plan. That way you only have to focus on that one thing for the month.
Okay. And how do people get their hands on that?
We'll put it in the description, but it's Pinterest. It's Heather Farris / Pinterest system, heatherfarris.com / Pinterest system, I think.
Okay. And is that like a low ticket offer or?
Yeah, and we'll get you
Okay.
the link.
Okay. Cool. How much is it?
I think it's 27.
Oh my gosh. What a
And
deal.
it comes with a Notion version too. So if you don't like Google Sheets, but you do want Notion, it automatically comes with that. There's also a ClickUp version in there, which is more simplified. It's still you really need to use the spreadsheet with the ClickUp version. And then I'm adding an Airtable version.
Mm-hmm.
So there
So
will be
good.
whatever version you want to use will be available.
Nice. So
Yeah.
good. Okay, cool. All right. So number one was organizing in Canva, not starting from scratch all the time, right? Number
Mhm.
two was having your keyword plan so that you're not having to do keyword research every time you go to create pins. Just thinking
Yep.
about that makes
I
me
have a
feel
question in the
tired.
chat for that for you, by the
Cool.
way.
Okay, cool. Let's do the question before we get to number three.
The question is, how often should one update their keywords and do new research?
Yeah.
Like a
I
question.
mean, there's no real real answer to that, but like if you've pivoted your content strategy a lot and you're creating content about new things,
Mhm.
that might be a time when you need to do that. If you've pivoted your business and you're no longer wanting to attract people who are searching for certain search terms, that might be a time you need to do it. I like to think of it as like kind of building on what you have. So the way it works for most of my students is like they have their plan when they start and then they're pinning every month, right? And then maybe in month three, they go to pin a blog post or two and they go, oh, I don't really have a lot of keywords for that. Or I never did keyword research on that on the
Mhm.
things for this particular topic, but I created a blog post about it. So that's when you might want to go back in and spend another 10 minutes, 15 minutes doing some keyword research on this new topic. And then
Mhm.
you would add that to your keyword plan, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can be growing it as you go. My only caveat with that is like, I don't want you to be constantly doing that all the time. You know what I mean? Like, the way that I like to teach Pinterest in general is approaching it by creating your Pinterest profile and your Pinterest brand and your Pinterest funnel all around the topics that you create content about anyway,
Mhm.
or the topics that you want to be known for if you're not creating a lot of content yet, but you're committed to creating content. So hopefully that wouldn't happen too much, but there are going to be times, even if you've done that really well, where you have, like I said, a new blog post topic, for example, or you have a new masterclass that's about something new and you need to do a little new keyword research. Do that, add to your plan, then it'll be there next time you go to pin that same piece of content. And it'll also be there next time you maybe have a new piece of content that's about that same topic, but a little bit of a different nuance on that topic or a different aspect of that topic, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think of an example to help people kind of um, so let's say, for example, that you're a meditation teacher and you did a lot of keyword research on meditation, but then maybe one day you decide to write a blog post, or maybe you're writing a series over the course of a couple of months about mindfulness.
Mhm.
So you're going to talk about how meditation helps with mindfulness, but you're also maybe going to write a topic about like mindful eating and or pizza content. And you're also going to maybe write a topic about like mindful something else. So that's where you're thinking, oh, I have this new series, I have this new piece of content. I need to go back in and I need to do a little bit of keyword research on mindfulness. And you add those to your plan. So now you have some keywords you can use around the topic of mindfulness every time you create something that is about a certain aspect of mindfulness. So that's a good example. I hope that
Yeah.
helps for the person who asked.
Yeah, and to follow up to that, so generally what I teach in the academy these days has I've really simplified down the keyword research in the beginning because I want people to get a quick start. So yesterday, just actually, I did a live profile setup with a woman that I actually was just on her podcast. It just came out yesterday too. And she, like, I interviewed her for like the first 15 minutes of the live about her pillars and her topics and content and products.
Mhm.
And then we went to Pinterest and we just did live keyword research for about a half hour live together.
Yep.
And I just put those in the sheet and then we quickly used those to determine the boards. And then those keywords were what we used for board descriptions. And then that is what she's going to go on and make pins with. So I
Yep.
instructed her for like the next 3 months as you work through this keyword list, as you're creating content and pins for Pinterest. If you feel like you need more, then go back and do some more research. And I obviously told her like this topic, this topic, this topic. I didn't find a lot here. You might want to do some more searching. I was kind of pressed for time with a 90-minute.
Yeah, there's always more keyword research you can do. So you have to be
Yeah,
careful. You have to be careful not to let it overwhelm you or slow you down too much. Yeah.
exactly. So
Mhm.
just getting started and kind of the guidance I've been giving my members is just starting with like a list of 10 for each topic and just
Yep.
working your way through that list of 10 several times
Mhm.
until you bored yourself with it. And then you can go back and do more at that point. But this way, you're for sure seeding those keywords with your content on a Pinterest and you're being repetitive. And
Yep.
the more repetitive you can be, the better results you're going to get in the long term.
Yep. Within reason, of course, just to be
Within
clear.
reason, obviously.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
want
you're
to
not
make sure
gonna,
we're not spamming.
yeah, you're not gonna spam one keyword 400 times with
Right.
AI content. Pinterest is actually cracking down on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you're not going to write a board description with like just a list of the 10 keywords and have that same list go in every board description. Those are things that people do that are like they think they're cutting corners and it's actually spammy. So just be careful that you're
Yeah,
writing for humans.
yeah, and definitely right for
Mhm.
humans. So
Yep. Okay, that's a good segue into the third one, actually, because we're talking about starting to talk about like, how you're using these little hacks in your kind of monthly like flow or whatnot. So talk to us a little bit about pin planning. What does that look like for you and how does it help us save time?
yeah, so as you're creating your pin plan, Anaya actually asked a really good question about determining image pins or video pins, and I'll talk about that in this question.
Right.
So as you create a pin plan, essentially what a pin plan is it's your plan of pins that you're going to make for the month for anything that you want to create pins for. So this could be blog posts, videos, podcasts, guest posts on other people's platforms, um, products, email list offers. Pretty much if it's a public website, public link you want people to see, and it's not like a legal page, you can make pins for it. So think of this pin plan as the list of things you're just going to focus on for this month. And you're going to sit down, and at that point, Anaya, you're going to decide, have I made a video pin for this in the past? And if not, I would consider making a video or an animated pin for it. Most people are always making standard pins, the image pins, as Pinterest calls them now. Most people are always making those, so they don't actually ever variate the videos or
Format.
animated pins. Yeah, the format. Making infographics too is a really great option if it's a good piece of content that could be an infographic. So then my kind of shortcut to answering this question for most people is just pop over to Pinterest with your main keyword that you know you want to use for that pin and just take a look at the search results. And if you don't see any videos there, that might be a really good opportunity for you to fill a hole that Pinterest is going to want.
Yeah. I love that advice. I had kind of forgotten that you give that advice sometimes, and it's so good because sometimes we
Mhm.
get caught up in saying like, oh, it looks like everybody else is doing it this way, so I'm going to do it this way too. But actually, in a lot of cases, this is an example of one, sometimes when they're zigging and you zag, that can actually be really good for your account and you can really stand out in that way.
Yep.
So really like that idea. So just can you repeat that advice one more time? Just so make sure
Yeah.
no one misses it.
So take your main keyword that you know you want to use for creating a Pinterest pin. And if you're wondering what kind of pin you should make for it, I just want you to use that keyword in the search bar on Pinterest, pop it in and search for it. And just see what content comes up at the, above the fold before you have to scroll. If you notice all the pins are yellow, and this happens a lot actually,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
like other Pinterest users will mimic other Pinterest users thinking they need to like fit in.
Yep.
So if everything is yellow, then go with a different color in your brand kit that's not yellow if you have yellow.
Yep.
If it's everything is an image pin, make a video pin. If
Yep.
everything is a blog post pin and you're a photographer, do something slightly different.
Mm-hmm. To stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Looks good.
If you
Looks good.
notice everything
Love
is
it.
a product in a search result and you have a blog post that's promoting a product, that's a great opportunity for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
So good. All right. So number 3 was your pin plan. So basically
yeah.
choosing what you're going to do for the month. And I know when you talk about pin planning, you basically say like, shut everything else out and just focus on what you're doing for this month.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps you. It's not really a time saving hack, but it's kind of like helps you remove the overwhelm of feeling like there's so many different options. Like just pick what you want to do for this month and then focus on using your workflow to work on what you need to schedule out for the next 30 days. If
Yep.
you want to do 60 days, that's great. These days I'm doing a lot of 60 and 90 day,
Yeah.
like pin scheduling marathons for my own account.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't have to worry about it, for 60 or 90 days. But whatever amount of time you're biting off, just do that and only focus on that for the time. And once you're done with that, move on. That can be really helpful. So
Yeah.
number 1, organizing your Canva. Don't reinvent the wheel. Number 2, have a keyword plan. So you're not doing keyword research every dang time you go to create a pin. Number 3, use a good pin planning workflow. And I know your Pinterest system is
Mm-hmm.
a really good, like
It's
pre-made
all
way
of
for
the above.
people to do that. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll get some of these links so that people who are watching this now or over on the replay later can kind of explore some ways that you can action out these things we're talking about. And yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap?
No, I'm gonna get some more live scheduled later. It might
Cool.
be tomorrow, but I am gonna get them scheduled. So you guys will have some notify me buttons. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Perfect. Wednesdays at noon Eastern time here live on the YouTube channel.
See you later. Alrighty.